Anne of Green Gables, Chapter 6, A New Friend for Anne. Anne and Marilla walked over to Orchard Slope Farm. Marilla knocked on the kitchen door. Mrs. Barry came to the door. She was a tall woman with black hair and black eyes. "How do you do, Marilla?" she said. "Come in. And this is the little girl you have adopted, I suppose?" "Yes, this is Anne Shirley," said Marilla. "Spelled with an E," said Anne. Mrs. Barry shook Anne's hand. "How are you?" she asked. "I'm well in body," Anne said. But I'm very rumpled in spirit, thank you, ma'am." She turned to Marilla. "That wasn't startling, was it?" she whispered. Diana was sitting on the sofa reading a book. She dropped the book and smiled at Marilla and Anne. "This is my little girl, Diana. This is my little girl, Diana," said Mrs. Barry. "Diana, why don't you take Anne out to the garden? You can show her your flowers." Anne and Diana went outside. They stood over a big clump of tiger lilies and gazed shyly at each other. "Oh, Diana," Anne said, do you think you can like me a little? Enough to be my best friend?" Diana laughed. "I guess so," she said. "I'm awfully glad you've come to live at Green Gables. It will be fun to have someone to play with. My sisters aren't big enough." "Will you swear to be my best friend forever and ever?" Anne asked. Diana looked shocked. "It's very wicked to swear," she said. Oh, no, not my kind of swearing," Anne said quickly. "There are two kinds, you know." "I've only heard of one kind of swearing," Diana said. "My kind isn't wicked at all," Anne said. "It just means vowing and promising." "Well, I don't mind doing that," Diana said. "How do you do it?" Anne took hold of Diana's hands. "We join hands like this," she said. "It ought to be over running water. We'll just pretend this path is running water." "I'll say the vow first," Anne continued. "I swear to be faithful to my best friend, Diana Barry, as long as the sun and the moon shall shine." "Now you say it and put my name in it." Diana said the vow with a laugh. Then she said, "You're a funny girl, Anne, but I think I'm going to like you very much." When Marilla and Anne started for home, Diana went with them as far as the brook. The girls promised to spend the next afternoon together. "I'm the happiest girl on Prince Edward Island," Anne told Marilla. "Diana and I are going to build a playhouse tomorrow. She's going to lend me a book to read and teach me a new song. I wish I had something to give Diana. Did you know that I'm an inch taller than she is? But she's ever so much fatter. She said she'd like to be thin, but I think she just said that to make me feel better." "Well, I hope you won't talk Diana to death," said Marilla. "And remember this, Anne, you're not going to play all the time. You'll have your chores to do too, and chores come first." Back at Green Gables, Matthew had a surprise for Anne. He pulled a small bag from his pocket and handed it to her. "I heard you say you like chocolate candies," he said, "so I got you some." "Humph," Marilla said with a sniff. "It'll ruin her teeth and stomach." There, child, don't look so miserable. You can eat those since Matthew has gone and got them. Don't get sick eating them all at once." "Oh, I won't," said Anne. "I'll just eat one tonight, and I can give half of them to Diana, can't I? They'll taste much sweeter if I give her half. I'm so glad I have something to give her." "I will say this for the child," Marilla said when Anne had gone up to bed. "She isn't stingy. Dear me, it's only 3 weeks since she came. I can't imagine the place without her. Don't be looking I told you so, Matthew. I'll admit that I'm getting fond of her, but don't rub it in, Matthew Cuthbert."